Good morning, sixth graders. Welcome to our technology class. This is week 25. Oh my goodness. Time needs to slow down. You guys are growing up too fast and I can't take it. So here's our typing. So this week we're back into typing. Last week you had a little break. This week your lesson is, I didn't put it in yet. Well, I'll do it right as we speak. So we are going to do the lesson, where is it? It's called Alpha Data Entry. So you can do that one. And then it will be due. I'm making them all due the last day of the quarter. So, but make sure that you do it every week because you don't want to end up having like 17 hours of typing on your last day, right? If you spend like 10 minutes every week, you'll be good. So there's been 6 so far. The third quarter is our longest quarter. So you'll have definitely the most typing during this quarter. And actually, so I'm just looking at my little schedule here. So we're doing an internet safety lesson today, and then we have one more. And then we have 2 more second step lessons, and then we are done. So that's how we're going to end our third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, we are going to be moving into coding, and we will be doing that for the rest of the school year. So the assignments will be different because it won't be, kind of like how you've been having to type up answers and like that. It'll just be code. You'll have to send me your code. So get ready because we're moving into some serious coding coming up in the fourth quarter. Okay, so let's move into our lesson for today. This is our internet safety lesson. We're talking about finding credible news. And this is so important right now for everybody, even adults. And kids like you guys that are growing up, maybe you have your first phone or you have a laptop and an iPad, you do a lot of your school and your research and stuff online. And you see tons of things on social media. Do you have any idea if half the things that you see are even true, right? Half the times these things are just fake news, trying to get your attention and get you to click on it. But you guys are going to be smarter than that after this lesson. You're going to know that's fake news. I'm not going to click on that, right? And you're going to know how to find out if something is credible. So our question is, how do we find credible information on the internet? Well, it can be kind of hard, especially nowadays. Even like regular news sites are very biased. That means they're just one-sided. They kind of have their worldview on things, and everything that they post and everything that they talk about comes through that lens of their worldview, and it can be very biased, right? Just one-sided. And so you always want to, excuse me, you always want to make sure you're checking a lot of different sites, especially for like important news stories. You want to get the facts. You don't want to get people's opinions. You want to get the facts. And even before you ever share anything, you want to make sure it's credible. You don't want to be sharing fake news. That's embarrassing, right? People are going to be like, oh yeah, remember? They're the ones that always just randomly shares things, and it's fake news half the times, right? So learn the reasons that people put false or misleading information on the internet. We're going to learn criteria for differentiating fake news from credible news and practice evaluating the credibility of information that we find on the internet. So let's take a look at this right here. Corn, that's a buccaneer. Corn is a dangerous fruit that grows on a corn tree. It is arguably the deadliest fruit on earth, but many are unaware and gulp it down each year. The fruit itself comprises the following parts: hardcore, dense organic matter. It is inedible. I have tried. However, dogs regard it as the equivalent to meat. Encyclopedia. So not everything that you research on the internet or you see on the internet is true. So please don't be gullible where you believe anything. Use your brain and think through things before you start going around saying, everybody, corn is so dangerous, right? So what does it mean when something is credible? So when something is credible, it means that it's able to be believed, right? It's trustworthy. And so that means that, yes, you can share it. Yes, when you look at it, you're like, this is accurate. Like, this is fact, right? It's not that somebody's made it up or their opinion or they're trying to sway people. Guys, companies do this all the time. People do this all the time. Organizations do this all the time. They want to influence people to be able to get them to buy a certain product or do something, right? They want to be able to impact and influence people. And we have to be careful because it can be easy to get into the trap of just believing whatever you see and following, blindly following. As Christians, we should not be blindly following. The only thing we should be following is the Holy Spirit and our God, right? Our Jesus, because we know that the Bible is the truth. And if we pray, like Proverbs 3:5, acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your path. That means use wisdom and discernment when you're looking at the news and be like, God, what is this? And how does it impact me? Right? And don't just blindly follow. So why might information you find on the internet not be true? So it could be an editorial. A lot of the times editorials, these are articles, these are blogs, they're meant to persuade, they have opinion, they have bias, they may leave out important facts. Could be satire, trying to make it funny, right? Have statements that are untrue. It could be a hoax, trying to fool people into believing something that isn't true, right? By maybe even trying to sound as realistic as possible. These things are on the internet, and I guarantee you probably see them every day. People share them every day, especially with coronavirus. Oh my goodness, it was like so hard to get the facts, right? People's opinions everywhere. So you have to really evaluate, which means to examine. You want to examine something to figure out its value, to figure out if it's actually credible. So we're actually, so bias we talked about, but I want to show you guys a video. And let me just talk about corroboration. So when you corroborate, you try to look for other sources that are talking about the same thing. So for example, if you saw a news story and you were like a little bit doubtful, like, could this be true? Like, what is this? You could try and look for other news sources that are reporting the similar story in the news and try and find the facts. So like, say you take 3 to 5 different sources about the same story, you can pull out the facts from each of them and try to find the middle ground, which is probably the truth somewhere in the middle. Instead of just being able to, just being able to, say like, oh, okay, is this really true? You can just put everything in the middle and try and find someone came to the door and I got messed up in my thought. Okay, so basically you're just looking to find out, what is the truth in this, right? And so you don't just want to trust one source. You want to try and find multiple that are saying the same thing, so then you can know what the truth is, right? Okay, so let me show you guys this video that I want to show you really quick. So hang on one sec. Okay, so let's watch this about fake news.
No, I can't believe it. I have to share this.
Wow, so many likes. What have you shared?
Look at this. It's so cool. I'll share it as well.
Groundbreaking, eating 1 kilo of chocolate a day boosts your memory? Where did you see that?
A friend from school has shared it with me. Not sure where she has seen it.
Did you double-check this information before sharing it?
What do you mean?
On the internet and social media, there are lots of news stories that are not real, and they are called fake news. Sometimes they are posted just to make people laugh, other times to get more likes or harm someone or something.
Come on. At the end of the day, it's just a post on social media. Look at all these likes.
But it's a lie. It's only chocolate we're talking about, but next time it could be you. Think about it. Always remember that. Virtual is real.
But I've only shared it online.
I know, but it's important to be able to spot fake news, especially before sharing it online. Share with care.
And how do you do that?
It's not difficult. You just need to follow a few rules. Would you like me to tell you about them?
I'm all ears.
Let's try something. You have just received this message from a friend. According to an American university, younger siblings tend to be funnier than their older siblings. Lucky you! You're the youngest. I wonder if it's true. Would you double check it, or you just trust your friend and share it? Great! You're reading a post which reports large, exaggerated numbers. Wow, that's a really big number. I wonder if this is true. Would you double check it, or you trust the source and share it? Well done. Good job. Someone shares this article. Groundbreaking. Eating 1 kilo of chocolate a day boosts your memory. Science says so. But is this really true? What would you do? Would you double check it or share it? Good job. Well done, Jasmine. Now you are an expert at telling the difference between fake and real news.
Now I know how to do it. I'll let my friends know that the news about the chocolate was fake, and I'll delete the post. More fake news! I'm definitely not going to share this.
And remember, not all you read on the internet is true. Here are some tips for you. Every time you come across some news you find interesting, don't read just the headlines. Read all the way through, and make sure the date and author's name are clearly stated. This way, you'll avoid making a mistake. If the headline involves exaggerated numbers or words like important, incredible, you can't imagine, and you also find grammar errors, be careful and check that other sites or newspapers have also reported similar news. If you don't find anything, then it's fake news. If the news comes to you by word of mouth, ask an adult to verify together with you that it is true. Whoever sent it to you may not have double-checked it, but you can. When you share fake news, you spread the word and make more people believe that it could be true. Remember that your actions can make a difference. Think about it before clicking share. What if someone you knew actually did start to consume a kilo of chocolate a day? Do you want to find out more about Parole Ostili?
Okay, so that was a good, helpful little video to get you guys to think about it, right? Like when you see something pop up on social media and it looks like some news or whatever, or do you just blindly share? Do you stop and think like, is this fake, right? So we're gonna take a look at some articles here and we're gonna try to figure out if we think that they are fake news or not. So here's the first one. The case for allowing 16-year-olds to vote. A measure in San Francisco proposes lowering the voting age to 16. Should other cities do the same? So they have an author, they have a date here, and then it's talking about 2 years ago on election night, Oliver York, a 15-year-old sophomore at Link Wildering High School in San Francisco, sat at home brooding. More than half of all San Francisco ballot measures will affect young people, but I have no say. And so he decides, he gets together a body of young leaders and they start a campaign. And 2 years later, results in Proposition F, an initiative that calls to lower the voting age to 16 for local elections. It's been endorsed by Congress people. A recent poll says it's got 49% of voters. If it passes, it will allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in local elections. So it looks, you're like reading this and you're like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder if this is real or is it fake? And they have in some information in here. Interesting, right? So let me pull up, hang on a minute. Okay, so I pulled up the sheet that you guys, so everybody's going to get one of these sheets, so you could fill in the answers, but I'll just go through it with you. So the first part of the sheet is your Internet Investigator Checklist. So here's what you're going to do for each of your articles or your news stories. Read it closely. Does it make sense? Is it believable? Identify the main idea by analyzing the text and web page, reading the text. Take note of anything that's surprising or hard to believe or gives you a strong emotional reaction. Analyze the source. Does it come from a credible, unbiased source? Look for corroboration. Do other credible sources say the same thing? So in our example one, when we read it closely, we see it's talking about a 15-year-old boy, San Francisco, trying to get the proposition on the ballot to lower the voting age, right? You analyze the source, you're like, it's Vox, it's a news website. It was founded in 2014. You went into the About section. You see that it has a liberal reputation, but has won awards for its news journalism. You could even Google the author and see that if the author has, you could Google this person, Zachary Crotchet, and see if they wrote anything else, any other news stories. Where'd my paper go? And then look for corroboration. So you could even type in San Francisco lowering voter age and see if that comes up. So let me Google that. Let's try and Google it. I just want to show you guys in the first example. So San Francisco lowering voting age. And let's see if there's any articles here. So we have ballot proposal lowering voting age to 16. A major American city may soon allow 16-year-olds to vote. San Francisco seeks to lower voting age, and we're seeing it on different news sites. CBS Local, NBC News, San Francisco Chronicle. So we're starting to think, maybe this isn't fake news. Maybe this is actually real. So how credible is it? We would probably say this probably is credible news. It seems pretty credible. It seems to come from a credible news source. We looked for corroboration and we found other articles that were talking about it. Okay, let's try the next article. So this is from National Youth Rights Association. Top 10 reasons to lower the voting age. Lowering the voting age is a new concept. There's many good reasons to show, and they go through 10 reasons. Young people have adult responsibilities. Young people are expected to follow the law. I'm not going to read all of them, but there's 10 reasons that they go through of why they believe that we should lower the voting age. So we're looking at it and we're thinking, okay, NYRA, what is this? National Youth Rights Association. So we'll look around. We're looking for, like, is there a specific author here? I don't see an author or a date. So that's interesting. And then we're going to go to the About section. Who are we? It says that we're the nation's largest organization for fighting for the rights of young people, formed in 1998. So we know that it's a youth-led organization. So we're like, well, obviously there's going to be bias. It's led by youth. So we know that they're going to be having their what they want, their agenda. So if we read it closely, we could see there's many reasons to lower the voting age. They give us their reasons. We analyzed the source and we saw there was no individual author. The mission was pretty much all about youth rights. So we think that this is definitely biased. We look for corroboration, and there's really other sites that could support this, and maybe they don't, because again, this is an opinion. So how credible is this? We would say it's questionable, because it does use some credible information, but at the same time, it's coming from an organization that is biased. So again, if you were to send this around, it's really just sending an opinion of this organization. We wouldn't necessarily say that it's credible news. We wouldn't say it's fake news. We would say this is someone's opinion. It has bias. It's pretty questionable. Okay, let's look at the last one that we're going to take a look at. Dynamite Daily, voting age lowered to 12 in a handful of states. So it says New York, after laws passed in several states last week allowing anyone 12 or above to vote in state and local elections. It says 15 new ballot initiatives appeared connected to pop stars Beyonce and BTS. In Minnesota, Washington, they give all the states. And then it says representatives for Beyonce and BTS said they had no comment on the proposed initiatives. So if you saw this, I wish I could get a thumbs up or thumbs down. How many of you guys would believe this article and think that it actually was real? If you just looked at this, you see the pictures, they got Beyonce, BTS, obviously popular, artists, and a 12-year-old voting. I mean, I could maybe think about a 16 or 17-year-old, but a 12-year-old, right? So, some red flags probably going off, I hope. So read closely. So it's a little bit interesting, right? We already said they're kind of using Beyonce and BTS here to get people's attention. We analyzed the source, Dynamite Daily. It's not even a credible source. If you Google it, it's not going to come up. There's no other articles. There was no author on it, no date. If you look for corroboration in Google, which you could Google voting age to 12, you could try Googling that, voting age lowered to 12, and see if anything else comes up. And you're like, it doesn't look, I don't see anything about it being lowered to 12, right? And so we're starting to think that this is probably fake news, because it is. This story has factual errors. It would even be surprising if it were true. You can't even find an author. You can't even find the news site for this. So this would be fake news. So these are just 3 different examples to get you guys to see different news sources and things, how you could really look and find out if it's true, if it's fake, if it's questionable. Always look for other sources, corroboration. Look for other news sources that are reporting on the same thing. Look for an author, a date. Make sure that the source is legit. They write other articles. They're not just a made up source. And again, think about the topic and be like, is this believable, right? So that's what you want to be doing to make sure that something is actually real news and not fake. So we went through these. So fake news, here's some tips for you. The information is very surprising. It seems unbelievable. The website is biased, or it's not even part of a credible news or governmental or academic association or organization. There's maybe no author, or they have no previous articles. There's bias. The key points cannot be corroborated by other credible sources. Questionable. It may be surprising. It might not sound that unbelievable. The website may not be part of anything that's credible. There may not even be an author. You have trouble corroborating the key points. For something to be credible, it may or may not be surprising, but it makes sense. The website is part of credible news, academic, or governmental organization. The author has no clear bias on the issue, and the article is not an editorial or opinion piece, remember? And all key points can be corroborated by other credible sites. That would be credible news. So for your assignment this week, I will email out this sheet, and you guys can look through these articles yourself, the ones that we just went through together, and fill it out. You should know the answers because we just went through them. But just to give yourself, like, try it out yourself and try and do it. And then there's a quiz with 4 multiple choice questions that you guys can go through and work on and answer. So this is a great lesson because it's so relevant to pretty much your life right now, right? We're like attacked with different news stories and things all the time. especially on social media. I mean, people are always posting and sharing things, and it's like, is this even real? Is this fake news, right? So be smarter than that. Don't fall into the traps of fake news. Oh, sorry, don't share fake news because that is definitely not cool. The next time you share fake news and then someone's like, oh my gosh, this person, everything on their social media is like fake news. They're not going to want to like listen to anything that you ever have to say, right? Because they're going to think you're like the most gullible person on the earth. So be smart, use discernment, use the wisdom of God, and keep yourself in the truth, right? All right, guys. So I'll see you next time. Have a good day. Bye, guys.